Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching my videos. This time, I've put together a summary of the strategy and sideboarding approach against Stifle Nought. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. I'll keep this hand since it allows me to smooth out my hand with draw sources starting from an island. I'll look for mana acceleration. I'll stack Gia's Will, Veil of Summer, and Cabal Ritual in that order, then draw. I'll search for mana acceleration. I stacked Gia's Will followed by Infernal Tutor. Since Stifle is sometimes included in Yubi Tempo or Grixis Tempo decks, I took precautions just in case. The 2 ability of Tamiyo, Seasoned Scholar, with only 3 turns left, I'll speed up the game. I'll search for mana acceleration. I stacked Tendrils of Agony followed by Infernal Tutor. But I should have kept Tendrils of Agony in hand instead. I'll scout ahead with hand disruption while being mindful of days. As expected, the opponent was holding Wasteland. With not much time left, the 6 damage will hurt, but I'll go all in from here. I'll draw what I can and then try to go off again on the next turn. The 2 ability of Tamiyo, Seasoned Scholar. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. First, let's briefly go over the basic mechanics of Stifle Nought. First, play cards like Dress Down or Doorkeeper Thrall onto the battlefield, and after that, cast Phyrexian Dreadnought and neutralize its triggered ability, effectively bypassing the additional cost to keep it on the battlefield. Alternatively, cast Phyrexian Dreadnought, neutralize its triggered ability with Stifle or Consign to Memory, and bypass the additional cost to put it onto the battlefield. Now that we've covered the basic mechanics of Stifle Nought, let's move on to the main topic. In Stifle Nought, the cards relevant to Ad Nauseam Tendrils are as follows. First, there are permanents like Grafdigger's Cage, Soulguide Lantern, Lavinia, Azorius Renegade, Teferi, Time Reveler, and Null Rod. To counter these, I'll side in Abrupt Decay. Since 3 slots for permanent removal should be enough, I'll reduce the number of Boseiju, who endures in the deck. Chrome Mox becomes ineffective due to Doorkeeper Thrall's ability nullifying the imprint, and it's not particularly strong in this matchup, so I'll reduce the number of copies. As for Teferi, Time Reveler, while it's on the battlefield, if you cast Beseech the Mirror with Bargain while Teferi Time Reveler is on the battlefield, you won't be able to cast the searched spell, so be cautious of that interaction. The opponent will disrupt your mana with cards like Daze, Wasteland, and Stifle. To minimize the effectiveness of the opponent's soft counters, I'll bring in Carpet of Flowers and Basic Forest. Next, regarding Graveyard Hate cards, I'll reduce the number of Cabal Rituals, as they are more vulnerable to the opponent's Graveyard Hate cards. As for Surgical Extraction, it can be particularly disruptive, so in decks without access to black mana, Vexing Bauble can potentially neutralize Surgical Extraction while it's on the battlefield. Next, regarding Stifle and Consign to Memory. Post-sideboard, it's crucial to include at least 1 round of hand disruption in this environment. As additional hand disruption, I'll bring in Duress. Next, since the opponent is running Stifle, they can counter activated abilities. Therefore, it's important to be aware that the reliability of Boseiju, who endures, and Wishclaw Talisman will be reduced in this matchup. As for Boseiju, who endures, I can't remove all copies since it's a crucial third answer, but I will take out all copies of Wishclaw Talisman. It's a bit weak, but since I have draw spells, lands, and disruption, I'll keep this hand. There's no need to rush, so I'll play around Stifle and pass the turn. The opponent shuffled after casting Ponder. I'll search for Infernal Tutor. I stacked Lion's Eye Diamond followed by Abrupt Decay. Here, I'm activating Polluted Delta to play around Stifle, but It was clearly a mistake, as there's a chance the opponent could deploy a permanent, and I already have excess lands in hand. I'll fetch a second copy of Mana Acceleration. I'll use Hand Disruption to scout ahead. The Surveil effect sends the card to the graveyard. I'm going all in. From here. Starting at 15 life and with Infernal Tutor being removed, I'll draw a few cards, pass the turn, and then attempt to combo again later. To play around the opponent's Surgical Extraction, I deployed Vexing Bauble. I'll search for Infernal Tutor. I'll stack Thoughtseize, Duress, and Tendrils of Agony in that order, then draw. I'll accelerate my mana while building up the storm count. I'll play around Stifle or Consign to Memory. With the storm count high enough, I'll cast Tendrils of Agony. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the frequent play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you in the next one. This has been ANT-ya.